fun. Unload the cash drawers. Tough. Go check it out. Don't you fucking move, man.
Relax, man.
Charlie! Shut up and go check it out! Man, gotta babysit. Charlie!
My baby!
Shut up! Somebody playing with me? I'm gonna kill Miss Jigsaw Teeth! You wanna play? Okay, come here.
Answer me a question.
How come your old lady's been eyeing my tail all night? Looks like we got us a grown-up version of Bam Bam. Ain't he pretty boy? Mm-hmm. Real pretty face, huh? How'd you like me to up for you?
I just got out of the pen.
Pretty boy like you must have done some painful time. You gonna use that stick? You won't dance with me?
Where you been, man? Come on, Chains wants to see you.
Hey, man. We're having a little going-away party. Who's leaving? The trailer.
Hola, amigo. Long time no see, huh? ¿Cómo estás, my friend? I told you. Don't with me.
So what? Are you asking for my undying devotion now?
No. I want to break your heart. If you want to the living, you got to learn to the dead.
The story begins in Alabama, where a violent biker gang storms a supermarket and attempts to rob it. As soon as they enter the store, the reckless thugs begin firing their guns and taking customers and employees hostage.
Shut up! Unload the cash drawers.
While the chaos unfolds, an off-duty police officer, Joe Huff, enters the market on a routine shopping trip. Hearing a cashier sobbing in a nearby aisle, he initially ignores the sound and continues his business until a biker confronts him at gunpoint, ordering him to the ground.
All right.
Charlie! Shut up and go check it out! Man, gotta babysit. Charlie!
Joe reacts instantly and launches a brutal counterattack, easily overpowering the bikers one by one. Shortly after the police arrive to arrest the survivors, Joe voices his frustration to his superior, arguing that the justice system treats violent criminals with kid gloves. The angry police chief reminds him that he is a police officer and cannot simply use excessive violence whenever he wants. As punishment for his conduct, the chief temporarily suspends him from duty for 3 weeks. Meanwhile, in Mississippi, a notorious outlaw gang known as the Brotherhood operates under the iron fist of a violent psychopath named Chains Cooper. In this cult-like organization, every member must legally change their birth name to their Brotherhood nickname. One of Chains's followers, Trouble Owens, murders a Baptist minister and is eventually captured.
Jury has found the defendant guilty of murder in the first degree. I hereby sentence you to 45 years in the state penitentiary.
Owen is found guilty of murdering Thai priest and is sentenced by a judge to 45 years without the possibility of parole. The following day, Chains's right-hand man, Ice Hensley, watches from a distance as that same judge boards a motorboat for a fishing trip. The moment the judge turns the ignition, a bomb detonates, killing him instantly. The next morning, Joe reads about the judge's assassination over breakfast, and the news reports that District Attorney Brent Whipperton, an aspiring governor, viewed the 45-year sentence as far too lenient and intends to appeal to the Mississippi Supreme Court to seek the death penalty for Owens.
And as the governor of this great state, I will make the war on the underworld my first priority.
Cut him off.
Soon after, FBI agent Lance Dockery arrives at Joe's home and escorts him to a clandestine meeting in a parking garage with Special Agent in Charge Frank Cunningham. Cunningham briefs Joe on the Brotherhood's recent killing spree, noting that 3 religious figures have been murdered in a single month. While they know the gang is responsible for the judge's death, they lack the evidence to prove it. Furthermore, the FBI suspects the Brotherhood is collaborating with the Italian Mafia to expand into a nationwide narcotics and contract killing syndicate. Since Joe has a record for biker-related arrests that surpasses any other officer in Alabama, Cunningham demands that he go undercover to infiltrate the gang.
You've logged more biker-related arrests than any other officer in Alabama. We want you to go undercover inside the Brotherhood.
No sell.
When Joe refuses, Cunningham blackmails him, threatening to convert his 3-week suspension into a 6-month leave without pay.
3-week suspension just became 6 months without pay.
Left with no other option, Joe reluctantly accepts the mission and agrees to work alongside Lance. That night, Joe adopts the alias John Stone and travels with Lance to a Brotherhood biker bar in Mississippi to begin his undercover operation. Lance clearly feels uncomfortable in the filthy bar because he has a strong fear of germs and does not blend in with the rough crowd.
I get any germs on me, I'll be eating the whole spectrum of antibiotics for a week.
In order to draw the gang's attention, Joe quickly provokes a confrontation with the aggressive Lieutenant Ice Hensley, who immediately suspects that Joe might be a police officer.
Thought I heard you boys the heavy hitters in town, but I guess I was wrong.
Oh, you yardbird, my... You're gonna use that stick.
However, the situation suddenly changes when another thug attempts to force Ice's girlfriend to dance with him. Joe seizes the opportunity to prove his mettle, brutally beating the harasser. While this display of raw power catches Chains' eye, Ice remains unconvinced, openly declaring his distrust of Stone. Despite this animosity, Chains sees potential in Stone's fighting prowess, and one biker gut invites him to a Brotherhood gathering.
Hey, the Brotherhood's having a rally this weekend. Why don't you come down?
I look forward to it.
All right?
At the event, Joe competes in a high-stakes motorcycle race against Ice to prove his skill and lack of fear. Joe wins, further fueling Ice's obsessive hatred. Following the race, Joe is forced into a bare-knuckle brawl in a makeshift pit against one of the gang's most formidable fighters.
Get him, man!
Through sheer brutality, Joe emerges victorious, earning the hard-won respect of the rank-and-file members. While the gang begins to accept Stone, Ice remains convinced he is a mole. Chains, impressed, formally offers Stone a place in the Brotherhood. To maintain his lone wolf persona and avoid appearing desperate, Joe initially feigns indifference. To prove his sincerity and seal the offer in typical biker fashion, Chains presents a woman named Nancy to Joe as a gift and leaves them alone.
All I'm gonna do is show you a real good time.
No, you're not.
Why not?
Joe drops the aggressive act and treats Nancy with genuine humanity, telling her she is far too beautiful to be treated like a garbage disposal by the gang. Realizing she is frightened and miserable in the gang, Joe reveals his true nature without fully exposing his identity, offering to help her escape the Brotherhood's criminal web if she cooperates. Following his induction, Chains tasks Joe and Nancy with a shakedown to collect protection money from local businesses, a task that infuriates Ice, who feels he is being replaced.
It's my gig. It's his now. Now, he's not even a member.
To ease the tension, Chains has a corrupt highway patrol officer run a background check on the name John Stone. Meanwhile, after Joe and Nancy collect the cash, they are ambushed by rival mobsters led by a man named Demichi.
Freeze!
Joe fights desperately to protect Nancy, but he is eventually held at gunpoint as Demichi seizes the money, warning that Chains must stay out of Mafia territory. Terrified that Chains will kill her for the loss, Nancy panics, But Joe eases her fears by replacing the stolen $400 from his own pocket. This act of selflessness confirms her suspicion that Stone is not a typical biker, and she finally grants him her trust. To further solidify his standing, Joe agrees to participate in a major deal for peer-to-peer, a chemical used in the production of methamphetamine. At an abandoned fish factory, the Brotherhood meets a truck driver for the exchange. When the driver suddenly demands more money, Joe realizes his cover is under scrutiny.
That ain't even 10%.
He draws his weapon and shoots the driver dead in front of the gang, seemingly proving his cold-blooded loyalty. However, the driver is actually an undercover operative wearing a bulletproof vest and survives the encounter. Later, Joe receives a clandestine message from a waiter to meet Lance in a parking garage. Unknown to Joe, Ice follows him and witnesses the meeting. Ice speeds away to warn Chains, but his pursuit ends in a fiery, fatal motorcycle crash before he can expose Joe's identity. The Brotherhood later holds a somber Viking-style funeral for Ice, where Chains delivers a eulogy. It soon becomes clear that the drug deals with the Mafia were intended to fund a paramilitary assault on the Mississippi Supreme Court in Jackson. The Brotherhood plans to use stolen military-grade weaponry to storm the building, assassinate District Attorney Whipperton, and forcibly liberate Trouble Owens before his death penalty hearing. On the eve of the attack, Nancy learns from the corrupt officer that John Stone is actually Alabama cop Joe Huff.
There's something funny. John Stone's driver's license is cross-indexed with a guy in Mobile named Joe Huff. Got it?
Yeah.
She confronts Joe, who admits the truth and offers her federal immunity in exchange for her help. Nancy agrees, but the plan disintegrates when the truck driver Joe killed earlier is spotted alive by the gang, blowing Joe's cover.
Come on, Chains wants to see you. Hey, man. We're having a little going-away party.
Who's leaving?
I told you. You remember?
In a fit of rage, Chains murders the man before executionally shooting Nancy in the head. Rather than killing Joe instantly, Chains decides to use him as a gruesome diversion.
The state capitol courthouse is the setting for today's controversial resentencing of convicted murderer Trouble Owens. A sworn member of the biker gang known as the Brotherhood, Owens was found guilty of brutally gunning down a Baptist minister.
On the day of the court hearing, Chains infiltrates the building disguised as a priest while his men prepare a helicopter. They strap a bomb to Joe's chest, intending to throw him from the chopper over the Supreme Court. However, mid-flight, Joe fights back, overpowers his captors, and commandeers the helicopter. He kicks one of the bikers out of the aircraft with the bomb stuffed down his shirt, and the device detonates in mid-air. As the Brotherhood launches their assault with heavy machine guns and grenades, a massive firefight breaks out between the bikers and the National Guard. Inside the chaos of the courtroom, Chains shoots the judge and the district attorney, attempting to flee with Trouble Owens. Joe maneuvers the helicopter close to a skylight and leaps through the glass into the fray. He corners the fleeing pair. Chains bails off his motorcycle and orders Trouble to kill Joe, but Trouble is shot in the head during the exchange. With the rest of the gang neutralized, Joe and Chains engage in a final, brutal hand-to-hand struggle. Joe pummels Chains into submission but stops short of killing him, opting to leave him for the authorities. As a weary Cunningham arrives and demands Joe's sidearm, Joe hands it over, finally confirming his identity to a stunned Chains. Seizing a moment of distraction, Chains breaks free and grabs an officer's gun to kill Joe. Before he can fire, Lance shoots Chains multiple times, sending the gang leader plummeting over a railing to the floor far below. Joe shares a grim smile with his partner and victoriously walks out of the courthouse building. Subscribe for more dramas like this, and don't forget to like this video, it really helps the channel grow.